public from enemies foreign and domestic. It's Alex Jones.
I'll talk more about this tomorrow, but I want to discuss Glenn Beck talking about government-sponsored terror. This is a big change for Glenn. He said anybody that says the government could stage terror attacks is an evil demon, and now he's reversing himself because he's being set up for the next terror attack, and so am I. They're saying that patriots, anti-globalists, are going to blow up buildings, and they're getting ready to frame us, and that's clear, and Beck is playing the exact same video clips we played last week, the exact same articles we wrote back in July. He is starting to get the fact that he's in danger. I think it's more than him just being a corporate shill. I think he realizes he's about to be hung out to dry. I want to tell you about a few of the great sponsors we've got. When you're up on prisonplanet.com or Infowars.com, you will see a banner for this knife. It's of the highest quality. They've got $10 off their best seller. It's the RenewTech Solutions is offering the ultimate knife at the ultimate price. The Fox Karambit. It's a form-fitted, beveled to the most comfortable knife ever held. The ring feature keeps the knife secure, in place, to help prevent slipping and being disarmed. The Emerson Wave Catch feature allows you to open it with one hand faster than a switchblade with no springs, using high-grade metals and materials that make the knife worth every penny. Other knives of the same quality cost up to 2.5 times more, backed by a full 1-year warranty and full 7-day trial money-back guarantee. Remember, due to legislation, there are less choices to defend yourself. You need the ultimate knife, the Fox Karambit knife. $10 off right now for our listeners on the black G10 model, the one I like the best. It's theultimateknife.com. That's www.theultimateknife.com. And they've got a video demonstrating it at their website, theultimateknife.com. One other sponsor that I wanted to tell you about is Interfood, the made in America, high-quality, 20 organic, non-pasteurized superfoods in their best-selling Interfood. They got a bunch of other great organic products. They're Patriots. It's very affordable. I have it. My wife loves it. Rob Jacobson here at the office just loves it. ENERfood.com. That's Interfood.com. A couple little scoops in your orange juice or apple juice or water in the morning. Gulp it right down. 20 superfoods, so you absorb almost all of it instead of with vitamins where they just, go through you. Interfood.com or 866-762-9238. They got discounts for Alex Jones listeners on their site. 866-762-9238 or Interfood.com. Max, I've got to get into who the real puppet masters.
I got an idea.
Okay.
I just started this during the break. I was talking to this guy, Michael Krieger, who's someone you should have on your show, by the way. He's very hooked in with the guys over at Zero Hedge. He's a brilliant writer. He's got some fantastic stuff to share. Michael Krieger is his name. You should have him on your show. But I was talking to him about the fact that if everyone in America bought one silver coin, or even if 100 million people in America bought one silver coin, that's 100 million ounces, and take that off the market, it would crash J.P. Morgan, and we would have a scalp. We would have a major victory. So my idea is, what about one of your, force this up the Google search ideas with the search term, crash J.P. Morgan, buy silver. See if we can, in fact, crash J.P. Morgan by getting everybody to buy 1 ounce of silver.
Well, we'll have to have you back up in the next few weeks because articles have to be written so that the key search leads you to the information, or it'll make no sense to people, or it will link through to nonsensical things. But that's a good idea, Max. Let me talk to you about that in the next week, and we can discuss doing it.
Yeah, because of all the solutions as we have described them over the months, we've all, I'm going to school on you because I see what you're doing with the Google search and the InfoWars is having a profound effect on the national discussion. You, in my opinion, you're driving Beck. Beck is a ratings whore. He'll go wherever the ratings are. The same thing with Drudge. And they see the traffic on Google exploding based on your search engine suggestions. That's where the sheep will go. Drudge and Beck are sheep. They're now following the truth talker. So I'm saying if you can go down this path and say, crash J.P. Morgan, buy silver, we can, in fact, crash J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan is one of the biggest financial terrorists in America today, probably even bigger than Goldman Sachs. And if the American people can take this on and put that company under, take that stock price down to zero, simply by putting 25 or 50 bucks into buying 1 or 2 silver coins, that would be a major victory.
Well, again, I think your idea is excellent. It takes some preparation is the point I'm making. So we'll have to discuss this and develop it for the very near future. Perhaps, Max, you should write an article for InfoWars or Prison Planet next week. We should choose a date and then have it all elegantly and clearly laid out for people so that when they click on that search term, they actually see a story that gives them the info, or the profound idea you have will be lost, kind of like throwing your seeds on the rock, not in the fertile soil, as Christ said. But, Max, always amazing talking to you. Max Keiser at maxkeiser.com. We'll talk to you in the very near future, Max.
God bless.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there goes Max Keiser. And it is true that InfoWars.com and PrisonPlanet.com more and more are beginning to drive the news. And if you go up to PrisonPlanet.com, the top story today is just so incredible. I'll be talking about this more tomorrow. I talked about it in the first hour that's about to retransmit in 20 minutes and 10 seconds. But Glenn Beck, government preparing to stage terror. In an unprecedented outburst on his Fox News show earlier this week, Glenn Beck identified the threat that we have been warning about for over a year, that the powers behind the Obama administration are preparing to stage a false flag event that will be blamed on his political opposition to derail the movement against big government. And then it shows Michael Savage talking about the same thing. But the issue here is that we have forced this issue out in the open. Government-sponsored terror is now something that a lot of people, even mainline talk show hosts and TV hosts and journalists, are having to cover. Because you're not going to beat the naked body scanners by talking about how they're molesting you or how there's radiation. That will damage the globalists because it's the truth. But when you expose that the CIA runs al-Qaeda and is staging almost all of these attacks, and that the TSA lets illegal aliens rent airplanes or go through the checkpoints unmolested, that exposes the full fraud and how the terrorists run the TSA. It's very, very simple. The people that stage the terror attacks are the ones putting the police-state grid in place and admitting that this TSA stuff is for the streets of America. Some people have asked me in the last year, why do you cover TSA so much? Because they admit they're training you, it's even in Atlantic Monthly, training you to accept this on the streets of America and worldwide. This is the Nazi Germany / Soviet / Maoist takeover. And Beck is covering exactly now what we've been covering the last 3 months. Top Clinton official, only a terror attack can save Obama. That, of course, was Robert Shapiro 3 months ago. Now last week, Clinton night. Obama needs OKC bombing to reconnect with the American people. Kurt Nimmo, Infowars.com. Democratic operative Mark Penn. We played the video clip of him on the news. What did Beck play yesterday? That clip. And he said they are getting ready to stage in Oklahoma City to blame it on Glenn Beck. Well, all of us. See, Beck, they've built you up to destroy you. They built you up to act like a clown and be the Patriot leader. And you've basically unwittingly done this, the evidence shows. And now you're figuring out, do I want them, this is Glenn Beck thinking, to blame me for the next domestic terror attack? Now you're getting it, buddy boy. Stage terror isn't a joke. It's not a game. These globalists eat their own, and you need to understand that. They're all a bunch of backstabbers walking along behind each other up their pyramid of power, as Mark Kornke has said. It's a big circular staircase going around the pyramid with globalists with knives to each other's backs going up along the path. This is a hellish system. This is what happened over and over again in history. None of us should want this, including minions like Beck. So, yes, I knew a month ago when Lou Dobbs was on, he was going to Fox Business. Not from him. He was amazed when I said, I know where you're going. I have it from inside Fox. We have moles everywhere. We are the true liberty movement. I got so many moles, I can't even talk to half of them, or 10% of them. But I don't even need the moles. I can see where people are going to go. I can see what's going to happen. This is what I do. And anybody, if you immerse yourself in real information and what the globalists are up to instead of patriot infighting that the globalists try to push us into, because if we ever come together and start focusing on the New World Order, it's over. You can argue about who runs the New World Order all day, you know, the Masons, Jews, the Catholic Church, the Easter Bunny. The globalists want us making it about one group or the other when it's really just criminal psychopaths working together. There's evil people in control of almost every organization. But regardless of who runs it, let's just agree we don't want to be under a tyrannical, unelected, private central bank that we pay taxes to. Let's just agree on that. See, that's how you have an effect. And I don't agree with Kaiser about Drudge. Drudge, I've seen for 10 years covering more hardcore issues than others, 5 years getting more intense, the last 2 years covering Bilderberg. He is independent. That's why he was fired from Fox. That's why he quit his radio show. The system does not like what Matt Drudge is doing, and I can only praise what he's doing. Now, I mean, Drudge linked to us like 7 years ago. We weren't even on the radar screen. And I'm very appreciative of Drudge putting this whole TSA thing on the front burner. Now, I will reveal who the real puppets are. Glenn Beck, don't trust him because of things like this. Here it is today, glennbeck.com. George Soros exposed on the progressive puppet master. The progressives. I've heard Rick Perry, there was video of him in the San Antonio Express News and quotes 2 days ago going, it's the progressives of the 1920s. A bunch of beatniks, a bunch of liberals, a bunch of commies, Bertrand, Russell. Yeah, we've talked about all them. We've talked about George Bernard Shaw years ago. They're in my films. But they're just left-wing acolytes pushing this. What about the Trotskyites becoming the neocons, Glenn? Let me tell you who's at the top of the pyramid. And I want to do a whole presentation on this. I've done it before, but I want to do in the next few weeks, who the true puppet masters are and really create a pyramid graphic that shows the different blocks. And they compete with each other at the top. But more powerful than the little low-level communists, because the globalists have to control the full field. They've got to have fake right-wingers and fake left-wingers. They've got to try to infiltrate the libertarians. They've got to try to gauge and control all opposition. But at the very top of the pyramid is the private Federal Reserve that is part of this global banking cartel, the 6 major banks that can issue unlimited currency and credit. That's who our forefathers from Andrew Jackson back to George Washington were fighting. Read their writings. This is nothing new. Same old fight we've had for 235 years. Same people that run the third world countries into the ground. Give them $1 billion loan. They end up paying back $50 billion. They owe another $50 billion. It's a total scam. This is what we're going into. This is what Ireland's going into with their interest rates going up on their national debt. George Soros in the pyramid is not even up near the capstone. He's a globalist. He's an operative. But above him is Henry Kissinger, Zbigniew Brzezinski, George Shultz, the Bush family, the Clintons. They are just management team front people, though. So you've got the pyramid. In fact, just give me a document cam shot. I'll just draw a crude drawing of this, okay? Here's the pyramid, okay? Not even a good pyramid. Okay, here it is over here. How's that? Here's the pyramid, okay? And up at the very top of the pyramid, you've got the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Saxe-Coburg-Gothas. That's the British royal family. The Dutch royal family, also Saxe-Coburg-Gothas. You've got the Oppenheimers. You've got the Brothmans. There's less than 100 families at the top who are the robber barons. The Astors, all of them. They're all intermarried. When you study these groups, right here at the top, they are all intermarried. Just like even at the lower levels, the Bushes are all intermarried with the Clintons and the Cheneys and the Kerrys. Now, way down here in a lower strata, you've got Henry Kissinger, you got George Soros, you got Zbigniew Brzezinski, you got George Shultz, you got the Bush family, you got the Clintons, and they are social climbers. Notice that the Clinton daughter, Chelsea, married into one of the big mega banking house families. She married into Goldman Sachs. because up here you've got all these families. But right up here at the top is the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the British royal family, and they're all intermarried now. That's how the Rothschilds are lords. They're all right up here at the top. And they will go into other countries and team up with the Lee family that's run China for hundreds of years, with the Mitsubishis, with the Hondas, with others. And so up here, you've got all these elites, and the British Empire was the model for covert control. That's who the puppet masters are. That's who controls the strings into the nation states and the petty regional elites. And all these petty regional elites, they get invited to CFR meetings, Trilateral Commission meetings up here in the next to the highest strata. They get invited up here to feel like they're all powerful and they're special. And so as this ruling elite at the very top set up their world government, set up their Agenda 21, set up their world rules, set up their world armies, set up through IMF and World Bank control of the nations, all their domestic police states that are over every country, they also bought up the media now to 6 big mega companies other than alternative press, and they're getting scared trying to start beating the drum to shut down alternative media because we're exposing the real pyramidal structure. So George Soros is in the bottom layer of the next highest level to the capstone. You got the capstone with the royalty, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the less than 100 top families, the Astors, the rest of them, the Bundys, the DuPonts, they're all up here. And the DuPonts are at the very bottom of the top capstone. As you go up here, it's Rothschilds, Rockefellers, British royalty at the very tip. It's all compartmentalized. You look at Bohemian Grove. It's a pyramidal structure with 114 camps in it. And Mandalay, the most elite camp, has the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers in it. Below that, then they have camps with the Kissingers and the rest of them. And I mean, and then people who are just CEOs of billion-dollar companies, they've got to sleep on cots. They don't get lavish, you know, log cabins with servants, but they're happy because they get to talk to these guys. And then these guys on top, they get to then influence peddle and compromise all these guys, the same model they use with nations and countries and corporations. And let's say somebody comes up with a corporation, makes a bunch of money, a few $1 billion, they just come in and buy them off, or if they can't buy them off, they kill them. So that's the real puppet masters, not George Soros, who in the pyramid is way down here at the bottom of the second level strata from the top. He's in the servant class. I'll come back and cover more of this. Glenn Beck, you're welcome to use this, okay? I dare you to talk about the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, the Queen of England. I dare you to do it, buddy. Okay, there it is. Real simple. Took about 4 minutes. There's the real pyramid of power. There's the real puppet masters. In my film Endgame, we show this same pyramidal structure, but with a fancy graphic. But I think we're going to go into even more detail in the weeks to come. George Soros has been convicted in foreign countries. He's a globalist, but he's kind of a black sheep, so that's why he's allowed to be scapegoated, and he's certainly a horrible creature. But I went over this power structure, this pyramid, but let me show you a photo of Arnold Schwarzenegger as he was running for governor at the palace of Lord Rothschild in England. And so there on one side, you see Lord Rothschild with the 2 puppets. You've got, of course, the owner of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett there, who's a high-level puppet, but not in the top capstone. You've got Schwarzenegger, one of the minions that they were grooming. Okay, so there you see Lord Rothschild on the right-hand side of your TV screen with 2 of his minions. That's the pyramidal structure from top down. That's a microcosm. Let's go to another photo. And we'll continue to show you globalist here, people that are at the top of the capstone. There's the Queen of England. You know, they have all this media about how she has no power and all this. The lady owns much of BP, much of Dutch Roll Shell. She's cousins with Queen Beatrix. She owns weapons manufacturers, you name it, just untold wealth. She makes Bill Gates look like a pauper. Sachs Coburg Gotha, they give you a brand name because 200 years ago, the British didn't like having German royalty ruling them, so they changed their name to the House of Windsor. Okay, let's go to another photograph. So that's top of the capstone. There's Queen Beatrix, probably as wealthy, but it's a state secret in the Netherlands, probably as wealthy. Her cousin, Sachs Coburg Gotha as well. Her Nazi daddy, Prince Bernhard, top eugenicist, founded the World Wildlife Fund. Now, that's a top globalist, the top of the pyramid, and the head person at the Bilderberg Group. Okay, let's continue looking at who actually runs things. There's David Rockefeller. He's been called the omnibudsman of the New World Order. He's written books admitting he wants world government and the end of U.S. sovereignty. Okay, that guy is in the upper reaches of the very top of the capstone. That's, the main Rothschild agent in the U.S. There's David Rockefeller right there. And they've intermarried with the Rothschilds and others. Now, at the next strata below them, at the super gopher imperial legate level, that's kind of the Darth Vader to the emperor, even more high-powered than Henry Kissinger or somebody like Soros. There's Zbigniew Brzezinski. Okay, that's somebody beneath the highest capstone, but who the elites actually listen to when adjusting policy. So, in a way, he's got as much power as the top of the capstone because he's in there making decisions. Very powerful. In fact, he's almost a transition from the servant elite to the owner elite. He's almost in between because he makes so many decisions. Let's show you some more images here. I mean, we could show these to you all day long. And this is how they control society. And they had thrown the globalists down. 1832, the British set up Skull and Bones. Then they set up CIA out of that. Then they developed these families like the Tafts and the Bushes and others to be risen up throughout the power structure. So there's a smattering of, Paul Volcker and Ben Bernanke. They're minions. But if you look at number 3 there, there's one of the Rothschild family heirs. Number 3 on your screen is the father of David Rothschild. Next to him is David Rockefeller. This is what somebody's put up as their idea of the power structure. I don't know if I completely agree with that. That Lloyd Blankfein there and Ben Bernanke are even that high up on the food chain. Certainly a Kissinger or a Soros or a Volcker are making big decisions as economists for the globalist, or a Larry Summers, number 10, but no, they're certainly not that powerful on the scale. 2 different separate animals, 2 separate groups. But again, I'll leave you with the pyramid drawing I did as we end this transmission. Coming up, I break down all of the incredible news. FEMA camps confirmed. Glenn Beck admitting that the government may stage terror attacks, and a lot more. See you back live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Great job, crew.
You are listening to GCN.
Web search FEMA camps. Web search FEMA camps and stage terror. Please do it.